All right, ready?
Oh boy.
So listen, the homily this morning, what I wanted to talk about, especially and what we did talk about, was kind of like the encounter that we have with the Lord, where He like really just connects to our core and like our desire for getting to know Him deeper. But there's something else that's really just awesome going on in the gospel today that I wanted to touch base with. So this is kind of like the director's cut of the homily in a sense, right? So I want to talk about a location called Shechem, right? And a lot of things happen in Shechem in the Old Testament, but in particular, like after the Exodus. So during the Exodus, the people are wandering through the desert and they get to the Holy Land, but they can't enter in because they don't trust God. So they turn back around and they're wandering. And then there comes a time where they're entering into the Holy Land, like for realsies, right? Under Joshua. And when they get there, when they get in, Joshua makes them promise that they're going to serve the Lord. He says to them like you have to choose today whom you wish to serve, whether the gods that your ancestors served beyond the river or the gods of the land that you are living in now. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And the people say, well, it was the Lord who brought us out of Egypt. It was the Lord who's guided us this whole way. We also will serve the Lord. And Joshua's like, are you sure? Because it's going to be tough. You got to commit. And they're like, we commit. We will serve the Lord and Him alone. And Joshua, it says, he writes these words down. He made a covenant for the people, and then he took a great stone and set it up there under the oak in the sanctuary. And Joshua said to all the people, see, this stone shall be a witness against us, because it has heard all the words that the Lord has spoken to us. It shall be a witness against you in case you deny your God, right? Which is kind of cool. Like, they set up this giant monument as a place of like, we will serve the Lord, and this stone will remind us that we have committed to serve the Lord. And they buried Joseph, right? So Joseph died in Egypt, and they carried him with them all through the Exodus, all through those 40 years, all that time in the desert. And then when they finally get back into the Holy Land, they bury him there in the Holy Land, right? So they do all of that in this place called Shechem. It's where Joseph is buried. It's where this big freaking stone stands as a testimony against them should they ever break the commandments, right? Should they ever break this commitment, this covenant to follow the Lord and not the local gods, right? So that all happens in Shechem. What does that have to do with today? Well, the readings, the story of the woman at the well, Jesus had to pass through Samaria, so he came to a city of Samaria called Sychar, near the field that Jacob gave his son Joseph. But look at this. If you look at the footnote here, it says Sychar is probably ancient Shechem, where Jacob purchased the field. So the place where Jesus reaches out to the Samaritans through the Samaritan woman, the same place he has this conversation with her about fidelity to like the covenant, and the same place where she has had all these other husbands, right? Like, it's this giant metaphor for the fact that the Samaritan people have stopped worshiping the Lord, that they've turned to the gods in the local area and embraced some of their customs, that they're not being faithful to this promise that they made when they entered into the Holy Land. And the thing is it takes place at the same location that they made this covenant. It is not, I think, unreasonable to imagine that it literally takes place under the big freaking stone that they set up to have this covenant, right? It's in the shadow of that monument. It's at the place where they made this covenant, where they agree to follow the Lord and not these other gods, that God himself comes and says, like, I'm about to offer you a bigger covenant, something more powerful. I am about to offer you everything that you are looking for. Like, it's not going to be a question of what mountain to worship on. It's going to, like, I am he, the one speaking to you. There will come a time where you will worship in spirit and in truth, and that time is now. So I think that's really cool, and particularly relevant for us as we journey through Lent, right? Because there are plenty of times where we fall short. We've got confession because the Lord knows that we fall short. There are plenty of moments on a typical day where we look and we say, like, well, I did not handle that the way that a saint would have. I did not handle that the way that a disciple of the Lord should have, right? And it's in those shortcomings that Christ meets us. It's in our failures where Christ comes to us and says, like, I love you. I know you. Like, I've got this thing to offer you. Follow me, right? Like, you are not too far gone. Anyway, that's what I should have said.